Welcome back guys to my channel. So today we're going to be looking at some of the updates that was released by Figma and how you can use them. On the screen I have number 9 that shows available rooms. So once I click on the button, it reduces the quantity of the item available. This is a variable feature, and once it hits 0, the button changes to the button unavailable. So another exciting feature is that with the new variables, we can actually create our light mode and dark mode with just one click. So all these things is happening on just one layer. So let's try the dark mode here. If I click on the dark mode, you notice my screen automatically changed. So in this tutorial, we're going to be covering all the feature you see here. And if you're new to my channel, please kindly subscribe and stay up to date, because we are going to be releasing new exciting tutorials. Hey guys, before we start, the link to this is available in the description below, so you can get a copy of this so that you can follow along, because we are not doing much of the design. We just want to look at some of the features that was added. So to get started, I think I would adjust the screen a little bit. So you have to click on an empty space so that you can see the local variable. So click on that. So here I will rename this to root. So this will be where I will be storing all my colors. So here I'll add the first color, which is gold. So we can actually pick colors. So you can pick a color there to set that. So now I've created a variable called gold. So the next one is I'll create another one called white. So I'll leave the value. Then I'll create another color called light. So these colors, we're going to use them in future, which will assist us in creating the light and dark mode. So I'm going to create another color, which is the last. This will be my dark color. So after creating these colors, so now I want to create my theme color, the color I'll be using for the project. So here I will be creating a collection called theme color. So I love the hyphen in between. So here we are going to name our primary color. So at this point now, I will be setting this primary color to the variable I've already declared. So now I'll be picking the gold. So the next one, I'll create another color here again. Then that will be my white color. So I'm going to pick the variables I've already created earlier, set that to the white variable. So I'll do the same thing for the light color. So we are going to do the same thing for a dark color, and we set that to the dark color here. So now we have all our colors. So I think we are done with fixing our variables, so we can actually close this screen here. So now we want to apply this variable, because this design we're having here, we just use the normal color. So we want to apply these variables. So now we select the primary color. Please take note, you pick the primary color, and then the same thing we're going to do for the next item. So select that, and then we set that to a white color. So now I'm going to select the text here, and I'm going to set my text to dark color. So for the items on the image, I will not do much. I will just make changes for the white. So here we're going to use our white color. Then also for the like button, we're also going to select that. So here I'll change that item back to dark. So for the hat, we're going to select that, and I'm going to change that to white color. That's the background. So please, for the red, we did not create any variable for that. So for these items here, I'm not doing any changes on them, because we just want to maintain them for the dark and then white mode. So now let's create a variable that is going to store the available rooms. So to do that, we're going to click on the blank screen and then our local variables. So here I'm going to create a new collection. Then I'm just going to name it backend. So you can actually just name it anything you want. But here I'm creating a variable, and this is going to store the numbers of room. That is why I call that collection the backend here, because it's going to store everything for us. So now I'll set the quantity to 9. So at this point now, I think I can close this. So we want to connect what is on the front end with the value on the back end. So to do that, I'll select 6. That's the number 6. And I will click on this icon and I'll select quantity. So once you select, you see it changes that value for us to 9. So that means the value it's coming from the back end. That is why I gave it that name. So now let's try the prototyping here, which is a very nice feature that was included. So to do the prototyping, I'm going to use the component element. So we're going to add. So here, I'm going to select conditional statement here. Yes. So at this point, we just want a condition. That is, if the available rooms is greater than 0, then we want to deduct from it. So for those on a free feature, you have to choose a theme to use this feature. So if you don't have any theme created, don't worry, just click on choose theme and you can create a new theme. But I already have a theme that I've created for this project. So I'm just going to move my file into that folder so that I will be able to use this feature. So it shows move to design system. So now I can add my conditions here. So to do that, I will say if the quantity is greater than 0. Then if the quantity is greater than 0, then you choose the select variable. So I'm going to select quantity. So you can type Q, then you have quantity. So the expression is I want to deduct 1 from the quantity. Quantity minus 1. So this is going to deduct 1. That's if the quantity is greater than 0. So let's try that. You can select the screen and then you can use the shift and then the space button. This is also a new feature and you don't have to keep going back and forth again. We can open our prototype on our design screen. So now we have this. Let's try and click on the button to see if this is actually responding. So you say I have all of this and then it's just deducting. You see it's very, very simple. So the next thing we want to try now is once this hits 0, we want to change the button to booking unavailable. So once it hits 0, so that means I need to create another condition. So I can actually place this here so that I don't keep going back and forth. So now click on that same button and then here, please don't click on the plus sign here because we're still working on that button. So click on that. So here I'm going to click on the plus sign at the top here to nest another condition here. So I'll select condition. So if the quantity is equal to 0. So please, for those that are not programmers, you have to use double equal to tell the computer you're testing equality. So we want to just change to. So I want to change that button. So here, because it's a component and it have a variant, so I can select the second variant here. And I want that to be instant. So if the quantity is equals to 0, so let me refresh this so that we can try that. Okay, so let's try adding. Okay, we're deducting, add. So let's see what happens when it hits 0. So yeah, that is fully working. So now I think we are done with the conditional statement. You can go over this and just try and play with this. So the next thing we want to do here is I'm going to close this so that we can try how we can set the dark mode and then, do one or two things. So let's go back to design. So let's click on our local variable. Please, I'm going to select the theme color. So I will be clicking on the plus sign here to add another mode. So for the gold, we want to maintain the golden color. So for the white, we want to replace the white color with the dark color that's in the dark mode. So the light, I think I'm going to leave the light. So the dark, I'll replace it with the white color here. So that's just the variation. So let's just try that and see what happens to my design. So now I'm going to select this and then scroll down to the layer. So click on this theme. So let's select mode 2. You'll see, voila, we have our dark mode. All the items we set earlier with the variables, you see, automatically changes. So I can switch back to my light mode. Very easy. So now let's see how we can make some adjustment. I will just change this to light, and then the other one I will change it to dark. So now we can close this and you see, let's try and run this again. So let's go dark mode and we can switch back to the light mode. So these are the features that was included in Figma. So we are going to look at more complicated conditions, but we are starting with the basic and then we move to the advanced concepts here. If you are new to all this conditional statement, you might find it a little bit tricky, but it's actually very, very easy to learn. And this makes prototyping very, very easy and very interactive. You see, we have lesser number of components or screens. So if you like tutorials like this, please kindly subscribe to my channel, and then we'll be releasing new tutorials on the new variable.